Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Um, this video is gonna be a little different. I think it's gonna be a little bit of a different video. Um, it's primarily gonna be focused on philosophy, which I've done one or two videos in my channel in the past talking about stuff like how to find happiness or how to find fulfillment or stuff like that in your life. And I guess this video is gonna be something along those lines. The inspiration for making this video was a movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's a fantastic movie. I highly recommend you watch it. The movie kind of gives you two paths in life, right? One of them being faith, where you choose to believe certain things and you choose to hold on to certain things, where your belief in those certain things brings you comfort, and that's why you believe those things. For example, you could believe in God, you could believe in religion, a system of work, you could believe it could be as simple as saying you have a very close set of friends who you think will like never betray you or never go against you or anything like that, and they're just always going to be by your side or whatever. Or it could be your family or something like that. And this belief is not something that you have arrived at as a conclusion from evidence, but it's more so a fact that you choose to believe these things because believing these things makes you comfortable, or rather lets you escape from the dark reality of the world that nothing is like, we can't really guarantee anything, and everything is actually entropy and chaos, and really there are no rules for doing anything in the world. It's kind of a dark truth to kind of accept when you realize that anything can happen to anyone at any point of time, and really you know absolutely nothing about the world at all, and it's just a random collection and chain of events that have been happening, and everything is purely chance, and that nothing is meant to be. When you realize that, it's a very dark truth, right? It's very hard to grasp, and for some it's very disturbing because it's a very unsettling sort of truth when you realize that everything in life, all the friends you've made, all the connections you've made, everything that's happened to you, including your opportunities that have led you to the point you are right now, have all just been a giant coincidence, and like just a series of chances, if you will, just like a random, just like a chance event that have happened in all the possible subsets of events and endpoints you could have ended up in your life. You ended up at this one, right? Once you realize that, you realize that like how you realize how uncertain everything is, and you realize how you can take nothing for granted and stuff like that, right? And you know, that's kind of the path of thought or reasoning, will, you know, that leads you, well, if you read philosophy, if you read, you know, Stoicism, or just different branches of philosophy, they're all kind of trying to say the same thing in different ways. But if you read these different kinds of philosophy, you'll realize that there is one branch of philosophy called nihilism, where nihilism states that nothing really matters, and so there's no point doing anything at all. So it's, for example, it's like trying to say that, hey, so you want a promotion at your job, and you want to work like really hard for that promotion, and you really want to like put in the work to make sure that you get the promotion or whatever is the goal that you desire. But what if you said that, hey, since you're gonna die anyway, someday you're gonna die, right? We're all gonna die. And so the thing is, if you kind of realize that, hey, since we're all gonna die anyway, does this goal really even matter that much? Because, like, I mean, you could say that it does, but there's a particular like line of thinking where basically it says that if you chose to not care about the goal, right? If you chose not to pursue the thing, because like in the grand scheme of things, like who gives a shit really? Like perhaps you say that, hey, like I'm just one guy living, and you know the impact I'm gonna be able to make over the entire course of my life is arguably small in the grand scheme of things. I'm like a speck in the scheme of the collective universe. Nothing I do really matters. I'm living in my own bubble, and if you choose to believe that, it's like, well, what's the point of fighting for the thing? Just a promotion just means slightly more money and whatever it is, and you might feel demotivated to work towards that goal. And so if you kind of extend that sort of way of thinking to everything in life, you realize that nothing in life really, like, what's the point of doing anything? Because nothing really matters, right? And so it's like this let's say school of thinking, or this type of thinking, is basically called nihilism. When you realize that nothing really matters, you just might as well like spend all day, your whole life, just like lazing around and doing nothing, because like what's the real point of like putting in any effort, right? And so the opposite school of belief is faith, where you kind of choose to believe that certain things matter, and sometimes you almost choose to believe that certain things matter for no reason. For example, you could choose to believe in God, you could choose to believe in do good things and good things will happen to you, or you could choose to believe simple things, right? You could choose to believe that, you know, be nice to people and people will be nice to you. You know, you choose to believe it, you can't really prove that it's true. I mean, you could try it out and it could be true, it also couldn't be true. You could go into a relationship and choose to believe that your significant other will never break up with you, but maybe they will, right? You can't really prove anything. So it's like faith is basically saying that you choose to believe certain things and you choose to stand by certain ideas because you want to. And it's simply because you want to, and perhaps you think that choosing to do so gives you comfort or something else, like that line of thought or that school of thought is just better. It's kind of like saying, yeah, you know, God's on my side, I'm gonna do cool things, and like good things are gonna happen to me and stuff like that. So you're just really kind of working hard, and you have your own motivations for like doing so. And it's like this thing where it's basically like a style of living, but while it gives you comfort, it perhaps does not take into account the true nature of things, right? Because a lot of the time you could be proved wrong. Like the one girl you fell in love with and who you thought was the love of your life and who you thought was the one breaks up with you, and then what? You're depressed because now you've just lost faith in women, you've lost faith in the world and love, stuff like that. It might take you years to recover from that, but the point is that if you believe that everything happens for a reason, then it's kind of like that the idea of that thing gives you comfort, but it's also that you kind of become attached to the idea. So if the thing doesn't work out the way you want it to, you could fall into a dark place, because you might begin to question your own beliefs or the world or the way you see the world or your source of faith. As in, it doesn't make sense why it happened to you. Like maybe you worked hard, but good things didn't happen to you. You didn't get the job promotion or whatever the thing it is. You're like, okay, so like, God hates me, life's unfair, whatever thing it is, right? You run the risk of not being able to make sense of certain things when completely unpredictable things happen to you, because a lot of things happen in life which don't completely make sense, and that's the nature of the world. A lot of it, some of it doesn't make sense. It's just kind of like that. And so it's just the way it is. Shit happens, And so, where am I going with this? So in the movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, there are two paths. Well, the movie is structured in a way where there's this woman who's the main character, and she's like someone who knows nothing about philosophy and faith and everything like that. And then her husband is someone who is high on faith and who has chosen the path of faith. And then her daughter is someone who has chosen to become an absolute nihilist, and she has chosen to believe that nothing really matters and everything is just one giant lie and stuff like that. It's just, she's like gone down the dark side. And then the mother kind of has to like choose between the two, or split, or kind of like figure out for herself what's right. And that's where I want to bring to you the point of the video, where essentially I think there is a good way to live life, in a sense where you kind of accept the uncertainty of life and you roll with it, but you also get to enjoy life at the same time, right? So what do I mean by this? So if you choose to believe the fact that everything is in fact complete chaos and nothing makes, and that everything is like a random chance event that's happening in your life and whatever the thing that is, if you choose to believe that, while that is true, right? It's, the thing is, like, perhaps by nature, it's not really a sort of positive thought. It's not like you tell someone, hey bro, everything in your life that you've achieved till this point, or that's happened to you till this point, is just like a random coincidence, and like, you can't really predict anything that's going to happen to you in the future. If you told someone that, they just, they probably wouldn't like it, even if it was true. And so thing is, so it's my approach to like this is sort of, and like life in general, is sort of this thing where, whilst you accept that everything is in fact chaos, and that probably nothing, you can really prove nothing if you really think about it. The thing is that, faith is a good thing. Faith will give you comfort. I'm not telling you to become an atheist, or to completely reject faith, but what I'm telling you is more like, understand why faith exists, and also perhaps understand the real reason behind faith and the real truth of the world. Use faith as a choice, not as a clutch. But my view on this thing, or my take on this thing, is basically this kind of point where I say that if nothing really matters, right? If nothing has any objective truth to it, and if nothing honestly like really matters, and you can't really prove anything in life, then at its core, perhaps nihilism is true, right? Inherently, it's true. But that doesn't really have to be a bad thing. So it's kind of like saying, there's this concept, it's called optimistic nihilism. I'll link a video down below in the description. I thought it was really cool. But essentially, it says that if nothing really matters in life, right, then you can ask you, before you start a particular activity or a particular venture or something, a goal or a mission or whatever it is you want to start in your life, before you start it, you can ask the question, why? Why am I doing this, right? And you could have your own motivations for doing that, and that would be great, of course, on all of that. But thing is, you could ask yourself the question, like, for example, so you want to go to the gym and build muscle, you want to build a good physique, right? Well, let me tell you, it takes time, it takes years, right? It takes years of exercise, diet, sleep, discipline, hard work. And while yes, all of that stuff feels good and you will get good results which impact your life positively in certain ways, well, I at least think it does for me. The thing is that it's quite easy to think, well, what's the point, right? Like, if I'm just gonna die anyway, then what's the point of putting all that work in? Because we're all gonna, the fat guy and the fit guy end up at the same end point. Then why bother? You know what I mean? If you could walk 10 miles to reach an end point, and the other guy just sits on a bus and gets to the same point, then why are you doing it? Why are you putting up the effort if you can't really change the end result in the universe or whatever, in the grand scheme of things? Well, I guess optimistic nihilism at its very core will kind of frame the problem and like ask you the question that, well, if nothing really matters, right, then why not, right? Like, if you're gonna die anyway, right, if you know you're gonna die someday, why not go to the gym, get jacked and get a six-pack? It could be fun, right? Could be like a nice thing to do, could be a challenge. Maybe maybe you attract some women along the way. I don't fucking know, but maybe it's on your bucket list, maybe it's not, but it could be fun, right? Maybe you get jacked and swole and good things happen to you. Maybe you take your shirt off at a beach and take some really good photos. It's probably gonna make you feel good, right? So it's the concept that, given the fact that we're all gonna die someday and that we can't go back in time, and given that time is the only resource we can't generate more of, meaning if all of us live, or like on average we live like for X amount of days, and right now we are at number n, which is in between 1 to x, between 1 to n we can't go back, and so death has already claimed that part, and now we have from n to x. So it's like, given that we're gonna die anyway, why not do whatever the fuck we want? You know what I mean? If you know that you're gonna die someday, right? And then when you die, you're like, you can't keep your wealth, you can't keep your health, because your health's probably gone down by that time anyway, whatever it is. But it's like, if you can't keep any of it, then you might as well do the most, right? You might as well just do anything you can. Like, if I told you you had, like, say 40 years, 50 years left to live, would you rather make no money all your life and then die? Or would you make a shitload of money and then donate all of it and change the world in a big way and in a positive way and then die? So it's like, you're gonna die anyway, so you might as well have fun with it, So it's like, optimistic nihilism is this way of asking, well, like, why not? It's like, yeah, going to the gym is hard and building muscle is hard, but like, bro, like, the time's gonna pass anyway. Like, 10 years from now, we're gonna be 10 years older. The only difference is whether we're jacked or not depends upon what we do today. So why not treat life like a game and level up? Because what do we have to lose anyway? Because we're all gonna die, right? Might as well have fun with it. That's kind of the idea of optimistic nihilism, and I think that that's a good way to live. It's what I do. I'm not saying like faith is bad or anything, or like I'm not telling you to like reject faith or anything. That's not the thing at all. Like I don't have the balls to be an atheist because I pray on my bad days, but it's like what I'm trying to present is more of this idea about the truth of the world, because if you accept the truth, most likely while it's a little scary, it doesn't have to be. It's also a good thing, and I think the most important thing is that inherently, once you really understand it, it's actually freeing, right? Once you realize that nothing really matters, you're gonna sort of stop worrying about the stuff that you're attached to, because what's the point of being attached to something if you could just lose it anyway? And so it's like now you can enjoy the thing without the fear of losing it. And so every moment or whatever opportunities or the time you spend with the thing, or you spend doing the thing, or whatever it is, that the person or an object or whatever the context of that thing is, it's like you're not afraid of losing it. And so now every opportunity you get to do that thing, or every moment you get to spend with that person, is now a privilege. It's a gift, because it might not come back again, right? You might never get any of that stuff back, because who knows what's gonna happen, right? So yeah, I guess that's about it. I know this video was kind of all over the place and like a lot to take in, but it's been something that I want to talk about for like a while now. The idea of optimistic nihilism and like faith, and just like the nature of the world and stuff. But I've had this thought and I've been wanting to make this video, but I just wasn't in the mood to record it, you know what I mean? Because you have to be in a very specific mood to be able to talk about this stuff. You can't just click record and start talking about deep philosophical stuff. But anyways, I'd say like and subscribe, but like you don't have to. This whole video was just me saying something that I wanted to like put out there. So like just do with this what you will. It's not like I'm trying to prove my point or I'm trying to convert you to my line of thinking. It's just that I wanted to say some of this stuff is because I believe this to be my truth, and this is how I found peace in my life. So I just want to like put it out there, right? Do what you want with this. Anyway, I've taken up enough of your time. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hey, bye for now. Have a great day.